Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Finesse fishing world. I am finally getting around to this video because it's been a long time since I've written this, and that is of Finesse fishing realities. So straight down the list. Number one, wind will dictate Nico and drop shot weight sizes. Choice dictates feel of bait and pinning effect of the weight to the bottom. As far as weights, I use 1/8 to 1/4 and 3/16 max depending on wind. Drop shot Nico, I use 1/32 to 1/8 max mostly for fall rate. 1/8 to 3/16 drop shot for fall rate and live sonar. Into zone quicker with higher weights. Teardrop better in rocks. Cylinder in open water and cover. They don't snag as much in those environments. Line light braid 6 pound to 10 and 6 to 8 fluoro leader maximizes cast distance and field regardless of size of bait. Quality, use best that you can afford. Solid choices are Sunline, Daiwa J Series, P-Line. I use Daiwa J Series for most. Hooks, number 2 to 1/0 typical, light wire for more finesse, and heavy wire for bigger with drop shot and Nikos. I use the micro heat treated 20 to 30 pound rated micro swivels. I get them on eBay for like a 40 pack for like $12. Knots, I use standard twist and no knot snells for regular hooks for like Nico and Ned, and drop shot I use a snell. When I do like fluke fishing, the 3 to 5 is about as far as I go size wise. I use no knot snell knot on owner cover shot, and I usually use a 1/0 on the regular 5-inch zoom flukes. They're still small enough to be able to toss finesse style. Baits, minnow shad type 2.5 to 5-inch mostly. Finesse worms 4.5 to 6-inch max is that I go. I've got 7s, I barely ever use them. I go power shotting at that point. Creatures, craws, bugs, 3-inch to 4.5 on average. Colors, bait fish and light for minnows, shad style, black and blue, June bug, PB&J for worms and creatures. The reason I stay with darker colors and somewhat neutral colors is because bass in general, like largemouth bass especially, they only have 2 cones, so they see mostly greens and reds and blacks, and any of those colors inside of that, they're kind of a variegated version. It just is varied depending on water, light penetration, and depth and time of day. I've actually found that the darkest of colors work best at night because they go strictly on silhouette at that point because they really don't see as much. So I tend to stick with the more natural darker colors. June bug is one of my favorites, but black and blue is my all-time favorite regardless. Whether it's wacky rig, Nico, drop shot, Ned, it's ridiculous how well that color works. Leader length to taste, hook to weight, 8 to 12 inches on average for me, from the hook to the weight, and then more to the swivel because I always run a swivel when I run a drop shot regardless, no matter what. And I typically keep it about the same to my swivel, so I usually have almost 2 foot of line when I'm casting because of that. Rods, any quality finesse series or alternative, have one made. Find builders locally, buy parts on mudhole.com. Other places online you can get stuff. Labor and parts is mostly what you're paying at that point. I use the 2000 to 3000 size. Shimano and Daiwa are my 2 primaries. The 1000 size for for ultralight fishing is usually Okuma for me. A10, A1000s, they're cheap, they work. Just get the best you can afford. And that's pretty much it for this. So I use my super ultralight for ultralight and some finesse, but only up to like 1/8 of an ounce on jig heads. That's it. I do not go any higher than that because my my super light is a 7'6" 2-piece 2-weight fly blink I had made into an ultralight. It is a Tennessee handle slip ring. I run 2-pound line only on it. So if I get anything above 1/8, it's questionable. My finesse rig, my dedicated finesse rig, was a custom rod that I have had made by Ron Weber of Southwest Custom Rods here in Arizona. Had a Tachula 2000 size H or LT, the light tough, the slightly lower price version of Tachula. My friend David, he traded him a one-off custom rod that I had made by Brent LaGrady here in Arizona. It's a great rod. I just never used it. I mean, I liked it for what it was. I just didn't do that technique range very much. And so I traded my Tachula and I traded that rod straight across for a Shimano Vanford 2500 that he had, it was brand new, didn't even have a scuff on it. Such a whole different world. Now, in general, the competition's very tight between Shimano and Daiwa. I generally prefer Daiwa brand. In the higher end range of reels, they are actually superior in a lot of ways. However, all across the product lines of both companies, Shimano's progressively have higher drag ratings, and their drags are just as smooth. I think that there's more adjustability with Daiwas, but considering what the Vanford 2500 is, I wasn't arguing, and he was giving me a almost $400 reel. So, yeah, he's a really, really kick-ass friend. I put that on this custom. Now, this custom is built on a North Fork blank, which they don't sell the blanks anymore. And in fact, I think Shimano bought North Fork and G. Loomis, if I'm not mistaken. But the accoutrements, the reel seats, the handles, those things are the slightly higher versions of what the Shimano Zodius and off the rack has. It's very close, very similar in quality. However, mine has micro guides from American Tackle, and I have the split grip and the handle positioned in a way to bounce a certain way that I like. So that rod, nobody else, if they used it, would not feel the same to them. And I had it made with a outline of my hand, telling where I like things to weigh out on a rod, how to sit in the hand. And the Vanford, even with a bigger spool, the weight was the same. And I went from a 7.7 pound drag to a 20 pound drag with another 80 yards of spool availability. So it's been an upgrade for sure, but it bounces very neutral. So I can do extra long casts, and on that one I have 8 pound braid. I believe it's reaction tackle, and the J fluoro is what I have for the fluoro. So it's 8 to 6. It's very minimal. The 8 pound braid's actually rated around an actual braid strength of around 20 pounds. And the only thing I've had break it is a carp, and it was so massive, and it pulled me into a culvert, and the only reason it broke is it scratched me on the concrete. So it's pretty tough stuff, but it casts a country mile. I mean, I could take a 1/20th head TRD, standard TRD, Ned and head, and get shit, I think the max I've done is damn near 80 yards. I've almost spooled the thing. It's retarded. I have to attenuate my cast with that rod, with that line. But I feel everything on that rod, and I feel everything on that super ultralight. That 2-pound line and the moderate parabolic of that rod, you can feel a fish fart. It's insane. So I use both those rods also for crappie, white bass, and yellow bass. And he's actually going out of business, which really sucks. But what my compliment right now, a lot of what I use, get it out of here, are the standard profile 2-inch minnows. Now all of my current stock, I have stuff from my friend Raymond Ramirez with Rocky Mountain Custom Jigs. He's absolutely fire. I'll be buying from him again. But I've got the mint monkeys. So I got 2 of those because monkey milk, everybody knows, and chartreuse on top of that. So more of the bayfish styles. Aqua Thumper. I have non-chartreuse mint monkey. Quantum Shad, great clear water. And one of the new ones I haven't tried yet, Blue Ice. It's a great color. Kind of slightly transparent, which is great. Excuse me. I have, this one's really good for stained water, actually, which I was actually surprised by. Trying to keep these tails straight. I don't want them to flex and bend. It's in the oil so it stays pliant, but once you put them in a box of any kind, any soft plastic, if they're sitting in there for a while, they'll bend. The Big Flash, it's another really good color. And then I got these because I know these are designed by Randy Houghton, the color combination. The Arizona Crappie Sniper, great color. I have not used it yet. I have not had a lot of chance to get on the water lately, but I will be pretty soon. Black and blue chartreuse tail, another really good one. This one's actually, I can't wait to use this one in murkier water. It is called Purple Passion. It's got purple in it, but it's got a lot of green to it too. It's very dark, but it's also got a lot of flash to it. I think this is another more transparent version, but I lost the sticker for the color off of it. And then this one's a really good color for a lot of clarity. It's called Oxnia. It has purples, gold, green flake. I mean, it really has a very prismatic effect to it. It's pretty insane, really. So that's the kind of 2-inch baits that I keep. Oh, excuse me. That was interesting. I always keep spare micro split shots in my pack. I always keep spare leader. This is for my Finesse bass rod. And custom clip-on spinners that I put hammer blades on instead of the standard. And I don't go anywhere. I do not go anywhere with my pack without a tube of this, specifically this because it dries the best. And this stuff, and it is stinky brush pile. It stays on for a while, but it gets slaughtered. So those are in this pack, and I just actually redid all my packs because they had a lot of discombobulation going on. Always have a complement of bobber stops and my swivels. And another thing that I always keep on because I go for so many different types of panfish are the and bass are the two different 1/8 and 1/12 size cast masters. I always keep at least 3 or 4 of those. Batteries for my headlamp, and even though I despise the brand, I've got at least one of these. I usually use Everlasting slip bobbers. Have not made an order. I need to make an order. They are by far my favorites. That's actually all that's in this pack. And then in my other, and I have curly tails as well, but I don't pull them out nearly as much. Some of Raymond's tails. These crushers in this like clear with the black and white flake, they're pretty badass actually. This color is really badass. I pull these out when nothing else works. They work when nothing else does. I have the backlog of my bobber stoppers. I got 120 of them off on eBay. And I got some standard Kalins in the yellow and white and chartreuse. That's in the rear of my pack. And I'm in the process of finishing this pack, so I don't have everything full. A couple of the things that I'm really liking now. Get this out of there. I really like Rapala's Crush City Mooch Minnow. I had a lot of chartreuse. They're already gone. They got just trampled. But this morning, Dawn Ghost, murky water, dude. I always have clobber minnows. I always have clobber minnows. And Wakasagi, the green gizzard, Pro Chicken, of course. Always some type of electric chicken. I got 2 packs of that because it kicks ass. And the black neons, which come in a new shell. They're coming out with a different kind of packs. And I also really like, on my smaller 1/32, these little mini fictions, micro fictions, work really good for bluegill, and crappie that is really finicky. They will slam those when they do not slam other things. They truly will munch the shit out of them. And then I have 6 cents frequencies in the same 2 colors. These are really good on heads. They're a little shorter. They vibrate really seductively. Absolutely ridiculous bait. Very effective. And then from Get Out and Fish Again, and like I said, he's going out of business, so I got a remainder of his shad fry 2.3 and the flashy in that one, and I got one more hickory. Take a wild guess which one worked the best on my waters. Yeah. And I'm gonna have to find another source for those shad fry, because those 2.3s are just on. Well, let's get to the head pack. So in the head pack, on one side I have all of my curlies, and that closed. On the other side I have 1/8 1/16 drop shots for Finesse drop shot. I have some of my 1/16 that I flattened and put eyes on. I have a whole complement of 1/8 6 cents minnow heads, which work really good for those shad fry and the mooch and the frequencies. They actually work really good for deep water. Have a full box of 1/16 by themselves. That also, where did that come from? That also have a number 4 without a collar. because I like to just super glue it directly to shank. And excuse me, that was the 1/32. There's the 1/16. So the 1/32 are a number 4, and the 1/16 are number 2. My apologies, I got it wrong. It happens every now and then. So I got that. I've got clip-on spinners that I already have sitting around. Some of them are still the flat. I got a couple of the hammers as well, the hammer blades. So that way I have all of my heads in one box. I have my other stuff, and then I got 2 packs to do it with. But the reason I switched these out with the hammers refract light like a school bayfish. It is a much more accurate representation, and I have gotten hits that have damn near ripped my arm out of the socket. It has been retarded, just regardless even of the bait. But I got from Raymond with the Rocky Mountain Custom Jigs. I've got a curly on one of my 1/16ths. I have on one of his 1/16th heads, which I still had laying around. One of his purple ones with a purple head with kind of custom paint. It's a axe head. It's got that V to the front. And I've got his Fire Tiger with the Fire Tiger head. I know I've got more in the car of these actually. I have an original, I have 5, well I got rid of 2, so I have 3 original Weber copper spoons with an add-on flicker hammer on the split ring and an upgraded split ring in the back with ST36 owners. I upgraded all of them, and it's been a godsend. I've got a whole complement of just standard Kalin's grubs with my heads. I have some of Raymond's just plain white with my heads again with the eyes on them. And there's one of my heads with the 1 frequency in that Morning Dawn. They're really effective. This is one of those type of packs where I can pretty much take it anywhere. I can take it on a boat, take it in a river, take it in a pond. If I really want to extend my time out in a certain area and just take a small coterie of baits, I can take a handful of any of this stuff with heads, and I've got a couple other smaller boxes. I can put those in my cargo pocket, take off. And that's one of the reasons why I got this pack that had the thing for the cups, because I can just put my vice grips on one side and my scents in the other, super glue, clamp it on, fanny pack, walk, good all day long. So I got that off Big 5. I got this one off of eBay for like $19, and it's got little side straps and stuff on it. Pretty versatile. I haven't filled it back up yet. I've got quite a bit of stuff to use. I tend to throw mostly the minnow baits, whether I'm going for yellows or crappie or bass if they're all in one zone. Castmasters in a pinch if they're not hitting on the others, and then when I'm going more for bass, it's Ned's, Drop Shot, Wacky, Neckos, and I use the same worms for all of those aspects. I tend to like to use the mushroom head stick-in Nico weights from Z-Man. I like those because there's just a little bit more weight than like the nails that you push in and have to super glue at the time. I prefer that because it's external. It drags the worm down, still fairly slow but consistent, without that spin. I don't like that spin. I know it generates hits. I don't like it because I go on a semi-slack line and I'm feeling the whole way down. I use no O-ring currently. I'm going to rectify that. So I've just been taking number 2 to number 1 average mosquito owners. You can get a 57 pack for like $20. And it's worked well for me, and like I said, I tend to, when it comes to the worms and the Neds, I tend to stick to those colors. I will use PB&J, it works. And the reason it works as well as it does is because it's got purple, which shows up really well in bass's eyes, and it's got brown, which also is a neutral color, and it's that combination difference, that variegated color that gets them to hit. Excuse me. And a lot of times on the ponds, if they're close enough from one side to the other, my favorite tactic is to be on one side and just hit right after the concrete barrier on a lot of these urban ponds here in Arizona, because the bass will hang out either under that concrete barrier or just off the drop off of the rocks into the main body of water. And when it's coming down, that's a lot of times when they hit a Ned or a Neko. I use a lot of fluke. I use a lot of wacky. I do all that stuff, and I've got a whole other pack with nothing but roboworms and 5-inch zoom spooks and all the associated hooks and everything sitting in my car right now. So I had been asked to say some stuff on this, and I'm saying it. So there you go. I hope that helps. A little more extra perspective. I would say that if you're looking to upgrade your game, and I know we're not working with a lot of money lately, a lot of stuff is going on, I get it. However, for me, I found that I was getting a rod like 3-4 times a year because I was not satisfied with what I was getting off the rack. Okay, now the Zodius and the Zodius and the Tatula, not the Elite, but the regular one, they are pretty good. I can handle those. As far as a super ultralight, Daiwa's Procyon 7'6". It's a single piece. It's got a lot of flex to it. It's a great crappie rod. It is insanely good. I had that with a Fuego for a while. I gave that to somebody. As payment for getting on their boat a few times, I said, you know what, you haven't asked me for contribution for gas and drinks. Here's a rod and reel, and it was a good combo. I mean, it was a couple $100 combo. So I think they still have it, but yeah, Daiwa and Shimano's lines off the rack are my most consistent ones that I like. But if you get a rod 3 or 4 times in a year, you're already paying about the same that you would pay for a custom. And you can go to I go to mudhole.com. I find what I want. I get it for almost nothing. You can get a whole shit ton of blanks for almost nothing, all the way up to what the fuck am I paying for? I mean, they have the whole range. And for me, with finesse fishing, I prefer a Tennessee handle. I just do. It's comfortable to hold on to. It's maximum contact with your hand. You can put the reel wherever you want to balance it. The only reason I didn't do that on my Finesse bass rod was because at the time, what Ron offered me in price for that particular rig was insane, and I could not ignore it. And it was Japanese ordered parts. I mean, I'm not arguing with this. The blank alone, when he offered to build on that blank, those blanks alone were like $400. He went ahead and got all the since then I know I can get my stuff on Mudhole, most of it. He got all the micro guides. He had all the glues and the threads already. Got the carbon fiber handles, all that stuff, and did the rod for just over $400. I mean, he had labor involved. He had his own materials that he ordered for it involved. He had the blank, and he still pretty much charged me. I mean, I gave him, something of a tip over the 400. I don't remember exactly how much it was, but the blank alone was retail in that area. He didn't pay that for it because he's a builder, but still, I could not ignore it. And I'll tell you what, when I've had 3 other rods that Ron has made for me that I have given to friends. Because once I graduate to a different type of concept, I pretty much want something else made, okay? I have not gotten rid of my super ultralight, which I've had for, I know, over 4 years now. I've had it retipped twice. Have not gotten rid of my Finesse bass rod, and I've had that even longer, I think, because for what I do with those, they suit them perfectly. I have no reason. I also inherit. Well, I didn't really inherit. I paid a little bit of money. No, actually, I was owed money by my ex-roommate, and she gave me the 3-piece catfish and carp rod that Ron made for her. And when he made that rod, it was about $180. Now it would be like $500. It is a very, very light, very strong, minimally bending rod that when you dig into a big carp, it handles it. And it's got an almost 2-foot long cork handle with a skeletonized aluminum reel seat. And I've got a 3,000 size Shimano Revros on it, 3,000. So I only got 3 right now. I've got a couple of BFSs, but I very rarely break those out. I can do 90% of my fishing with a spinning outfit, so why break out the bait casters? I just don't do it. I love bait casters. It used to be all I used, but because I've gotten so much more precise with what I do on the water, I have no need for a BFS or a bait caster. I just don't. Now, if I start throwing frogs again, well, yeah, then I'll get a bait caster, but it's only going to be like a medium. I'm not going to go medium heavy because I'll be throwing smaller frogs. I won't be throwing massive, giant grade river to seas or anything like that. I'll be throwing like pad crashers and shit like that. And I don't need a medium heavy for that. I can have a little bit more of a bend in the rod, and I would throw it on 10-pound braid to 8-pound fluorocarbon. Oh, absolutely I would. I'm crazy like that. So, that's why I do the 2-pound line on my super ultralight. I don't want any heavier than that. I want to feel everything, and I want to have some bend to it. That's why I do 8 to 6, because I get all that casting and I feel everything, and I still get good hook sets with it. So, my pocket is Finesse. I used to be a power guy, and then I saw the benefits of just getting crushed on Finesse when other people were getting no bites. So, I hope that helps.